president and his administration in efforts to save Social Security and help save recipients. But with the recession looming, many say it's a bad idea. As with the Old Age and Survivors Insurance Trust Fund depletion it faces 2023 reports, the president has suggested that some are calling for a sweeping 4-point plan to bolster funds in the trust. The plan would also help the $22 trillion funding shortage shown in the 2023 Trustees Report if the federal government cannot fix the shortage. It could result in benefits cutting up to 24% of retirees beginning in 2033, while some of Biden's proposed changes will affect the high earners and company executives. Those who have retirement savings plan on potentially hiring than the average American. Some will affect the middle and low-income wage earners. Analysts have also noted that it will especially affect those who may rely on Social Security benefits in the future. Currently, any earned income below $160,000 is subject to a payroll tax. Earnings exceeding that amount are not subject to any taxes. Biden plans to tax the earned income above $400,000, leaving wages above $160,000 up to $400,000 untaxed. Each year, Social Security benefits are addressed and based on inflation adjusted through a cost of living allowance. Currently, the administration uses this to calculate the COLA, but this doesn't necessarily reflect the lifestyle and expenses of retired people. Shifting COLA calculations to figures tied to the Consumer Price Index for the elderly won't even solve the problem for Social Security running out of money. It could just put more money into the pockets of retired Americans who need it the most. The Primary Insurance Trust Fund is an amount indicating that how much Americans will receive in Social Security benefits. A lot depends on your age, when you began claiming benefits, and your average index monthly earnings. Increasing the primary insurance amount for Americans ages 72 to 82 would help those experiencing and also healthcare. The low-wage earners receive a special minimum benefit regardless of how much they made while they worked. In 2023, a lifetime low working earner would receive $12,000 in Social Security benefits or $1,000 a month. Biden intends to increase the minimum benefit to 125% of the federal poverty level for an individual. An example in 2023 is someone receiving a special minimum benefit will receive $1,500 per month with the boost. However, any Social Security overall plan would require the bipartisan support in Washington, and so far Democrats and Republicans haven't been able to see eye to eye in some ways. But fears of a recession have mounted since the Federal Reserve began hiking interest rates in early 2022. Because according to a chief of economists, although the latest gross domestic product figures indicated growth, a recession could still be imminent. With rampant inflation, Americans are grappling with wages that struggle to keep up with the rising cost of living and things like this. But just about 28% of people say they approve of a fourth stimulus check.
We've all seen content creators.
Do you agree with this, everybody? Tell me in the comments down below. So will you be receiving a stimulus check this month? I know that's the question that many of you want to be answered. Listen to this. You are eligible to receive more stimulus checks from a new federal program. This is really great because it's going to help so many people that are financially struggling due to the crisis. So remember folks, on this channel, I always do my very best in providing you with the most up-to-date and reliable stimulus check and Social Security news. So it really means a lot to me if you could subscribe to the channel.
An executive order to ensure that the federal government puts you, the American people, at the front of the line and for first in everything we do. I'm directing 17 agencies here to focus on more than 30 key areas to make it easier to apply for services and benefits that they're entitled to, they paid for, theirs, their government.
Now back to the breaking news, folks. The Restaurant Meals program also covers people with disabilities and people experiencing homelessness. The program is most widely available in California and Arizona. But some really good news is that many states across the country are beginning to have this program available. States like Maryland and Illinois are starting up their operations for this relief program right now, which is really good to know. It can be very difficult right now to buy groceries, especially with prices rising very quickly. Sadly, the inflation rates are hiking up, and that's a key measure of inflation climbed to a level not seen since June of 1982, and that's absolutely ridiculous.
Once again, those at the very top get the biggest breaks, and what do we have to show for it? Even our Republican friends are now beginning to admit there's no evidence these tax cuts are being put to work in the economy. No new growth, just more debt. And that puts middle-class programs that they rely on and they've worked for at real risk.
Folks, the Bureau of Labor Statistics has also reported that consumer price inflation rose by 6.8%, without seasonal adjustments over the past 12 months. So it is extremely important that Congress continues to provide the American people with more stimulus money through relief programs. Do you believe that President Biden can send out the fourth stimulus check, folks? Tell me in the comments below.
Some money. We got your $480 million last year, the first increase for the administration of Social Security in many, many years. Because we know that in Vermont or in Oregon and all over this country, when people are walking into or calling up Social Security offices, they're not getting the kind of response that they need because of lack of staffing.
Now, nutrition experts and advocates also say that the restaurant meals program has seen a very sudden growth, and people that are not on Social Security are receiving these stimulus checks. Now, this is in thanks to a larger push to expand access to the SNAP program. Advocates and Americans are worried about what these relief programs mean for people once they expire. But let's see what happens, everybody. That's why I believe Congress should pass another stimulus relief package very soon. It is completely necessary as the crisis just continues to negatively impact the country. Lawmakers cannot ignore the fact that prices are rising like crazy. Millions of Americans are beginning to no longer be able to afford the same food.
Well, we can put forth Social Security for our children. This will make a tremendous difference in the lives of America's families, and so proud that so many children will be taken out of poverty. My whole thing in politics, my why, was the sadness over 1 in 5 children living in poverty in America. 1 in 5 children in America going to sleep hungry at night. How could it be? Well, this tax credit, I call it the Biden tax credit, thank you, Mr. President, does a lot to alleviate that.
Millions of Americans are beginning to no longer be able to afford the same food that they just bought a couple months ago. That's because the crisis is only making things worse. Now, everyone in Congress needs to make sure that the most poor people are not left out of receiving any stimulus money.
On the evolution of the movement to remove highways all across America, and they showcased Rochester. And what you see now in the site of the former Interloop there was, first of all, they had room to expand the beautiful Strong Museum of Play. If you have not taken your kids there too, after you've seen everything here, go to Rochester. It is gorgeous. It is gorgeous. They had room to expand there. Affordable housing, supportive housing, townhouses, a neighborhood. It is stunning, and it also understood that there could be tremendous pressure for gentrification if you didn't build the affordable housing as part of it immediately. So people who want to live there in beautiful new homes, these are stunning. I walked through the apartments. I saw what was being done, supportive housing for veterans and others who've been identified as places and individuals who need help. We did that.